In this video, we will be talking about my Unit 2 session, which is also over Lesson 9. What I want to talk about is distribution, and we ought to first go over, well, what is distribution? Distribution is where you are taking any number that is outside of your parentheses and you are distributing it by multiplication to every number that is inside here. So you can see on this problem, I am taking this A, multiplying it to B, and then multiplying it to C. It can also go backwards as well. Essentially, anytime you see something that looks like this, say I had 2 times 6 plus 7, I'm going to take this 2, multiply it by 6, my plus sign stays in the middle, and then I'm going to take that 2 and multiply it to 7. Okay, so it's just a different way of getting to your answer. You could add 6 plus 7 and then multiply it by 2. That is fine. That's normally what we're used to doing with PEMDAS. But at some point in our math careers, we're going to get to a situation where using distribution is actually more useful than following PEMDAS. So that's what we are practicing here, distribution. Alrighty. So, like in that first problem, I'm going to take whatever number is outside of my parentheses and multiply it to everything inside. Okay, I'm distributing my 2. So I would have 2 times 12. Your sign in the middle of your numbers in your parentheses stays the same. Then I would have 2 times 5. 2 times 12 is 24. 2 times 5 is 10. 24 plus 10 is going to give me 34. Alrighty, let's distribute here on the next one. I would have 3 times 4. My minus sign stays in the middle. And then I'm going to have 3 times 10. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 10 is 30. Here is where you got to be really careful. My smaller number is first. I have 12 minus 30. Okay, so my final answer here is going to be negative 18. And again, you can double check these with the calculator. Let's do some more examples. On these ones, you can see that my negative is, I have a negative number in front. That doesn't change how we solve these. The only thing that it really changes is that I'm going to be distributing a negative number instead of a positive one. So if I have negative 4 out here, I'm going to do negative 4 times 9. My plus sign still goes in the middle, and then I'm going to have negative 4 times 8. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. Negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. I have 2 negatives. I have the same sign, so I can add my numbers and keep my sign. So I would get negative 68. On my next example here, I have a negative 10 outside of my parentheses, and I'm going to distribute that by multiplying it to everything inside. So I have that negative 10 times 1 minus negative 10 times 6. Negative 10 times 1 is just negative 10. Negative 10 times 6 here is going to be negative 60. Here I have subtraction, so I need to do my keep change opposite before I can solve this to change it to addition. So I'm keeping my negative 10, changing my minus to a plus. Opposite of negative 60 is going to be positive. From here I have different signs, so I'm going to subtract my numbers, keep sign of the bigger, and I will have a positive 50 as my answer. Alright, now we're going to go backwards now. So another type of question that you'll start seeing is going backwards and asking you to instead have one number as your answer, have what looks like a distribution problem as your answer. So what we are looking for is to have something like this. This isn't the answer obviously, but our final answer should look like that. And the way that we do this is we need to see, well, what number is the same that's being multiplied to both of these. And if I look at the first one, the 2 is the same in both. So 2 is what's going to go on the outside of my parentheses. And then what's going to go on the inside of my parentheses is what is left. And what is left here is this 13, a plus sign, and a 4. Just like that. Let's look at the second one. On the second one here, I need to look and see, well, what number do they have in common? And if I look, both of these have a 5. So that 5 is going to be pulled out. Now I need to just write what's inside my parentheses. And to do that, I'm writing whatever is left in the exact order that it's written. So I have a 7, a minus sign, and a 9. That is all we do for these. We're not distributing again and then finding the final answer. All we're asked to do is write our answer as a distribution problem. Let's do 2 more examples of these. These ones might look a little bit different because they have those negatives, right? But the negatives don't make a difference in how we do this. It just adds a negative sign to our number. So we're first still looking at, well, what numbers do they have in common? If I look at our first example, I see 2 -3s. So -3 is what's going to be pulled out. Everything that is not those -3s gets written in my parentheses afterwards. 10 minus, 25. Our next one here, I see -20s. -20 is my common factor, so I'm going to take that outside of my parentheses. Everything else is going to get written inside. So -9 minus 16. And remember, we're not solving these, we're just determining what this could look like as a distribution problem. I want to do a little bit more distribution with 2 slightly more challenging questions because I see this mistake all the time. The first mistake that I see with distribution is that a student will do this. So they'll do 3 times 12 and then they won't distribute it to anything else. Remember that you're distributing to everything that's inside of your parentheses. So this 4 is also inside of my parentheses, so I need to do my 3 times 4. Now, if I look here at this -5 on the end, is this -5 inside my parentheses? No, right? -5 is not inside my parentheses, which means that you do not multiply it by that 3. The -5 just comes down here on the end. You are only multiplying by this 3 to everything that is inside of your parentheses. Okay? And once we do that, we can start multiplying and answering these. 3 times 12 is 36. 3 times 4 is 12, and then my -5 is just going to be brought down. So 36 plus 12 is going to give me 48. And then I have -5. 48 minus 5 is going to give me 43. Alrighty. On our next one here, I am going to be distributing a fraction, right? I have that 1/2 that is in front. And at some point, I'm sure we're probably going to get to problems where we do see fractions. And on these ones, I want to remind you, please don't freak out, okay? Just because it's a fraction, it doesn't change how we do it. And as long as you know what you're doing, you can always type it into a calculator to double check. I'm going to be multiplying everything that is inside my parentheses by that 1/2. So I have 1/2 times -24/1. I'm writing it as a fraction since I have a fraction. And I have 1/2 times 10/1. Whoops. And then that plus 16 at the very end is just going to come down. I'm not multiplying that by 1/2 because it is not in my parentheses. So from here, if I have 24/2, right, if I multiply this top to bottom, I'd get 24/2, which is 24 divided by 2. That would give me 12, and it is negative because I only have one negative sign here. 10 divided by 2 is 5, plus 16. I'm going to combine these two first because they are positive, so I have -12 plus 21. Here I have opposite signs, which means I need to subtract. So 21 minus 12 is going to be 9, and it's positive because 21 is bigger. So on these ones, just take it step by step. Don't forget you can always use your calculator to double check these. Don't freak out. Quiz code for the second quiz is going to be cinnamon. Okay, make sure that you spell it exactly how I spell it. Make sure that there are no capitals. Cinnamon. All right, that is all that I have for quiz 2. Remember that you have 3 attempts. You do not have more than that. If you are stuck on your second attempt, you need to reach out to me before you submit your third one to get some help. Have a great rest of your day.